We are starting another subject here in Yabong Pilipinas, and that is economics. In this episode, ito yung ating mga i-discuss. So we have the definition of economics. We have the nature, scope, and foundation of economics. We have the major fields of study in agricultural economics and the economic ideologies of nations. So yung mga yan, those are some of the things na nakalagay or nakapaloob sa ating TOS. So, and if you will also look at the structure of, for example, yung mga libre na tawag dito, ang tawag doon? Reviewers online like Green Empire, yung mga yan. So, ito rin yung start ng economics nila. So, we will start here. If you're new here, I am Josh and I create content for the licensure examination for agriculturists. And ang goal namin here in Yabong Pilipinas is to democratize access to agricultural education. Ang ibig sabihin lamang nun ay gagawin nating mas available online yung mga topics sa licensure exam for agriculturists. Kasi we also recognize that as time goes by, ang dami ng like una required na ang licensure examination for all ng mga professionals na involved sa agriculture. That's because of RA 12215. Tapos, along with that, tumataas na rin ang mga fees for review centers. So, Yabong Pilipinas is here to give you the confidence that you need and you have to have kapag magti-take kayo ng licensure na ayun, mas gawing available ang mga ganap na even without the very high cost of enrolling sa isang review center, meron kayong confidence sa pumunta sa licensure exam. Ayun. So, ayun. This episode is about economics, the definition, scope, nature, and foundation of economics. If you want some of your friends to also pass the licensure examinations with you, kindly forward this video to them. Also, if you have any questions that siguro clarifications all throughout this episode na siguro, sir, parang mali po yung ganito, o kaya, sir, tama po ba? Ganito po ba dapat ito? Blah, blah, blah. You can just comment it below and I will happily answer and provide clarification sa comment section. So, ayun. Again, hindi ko sinasabing perfect ako. So, kung merong mga mali all throughout all of my episodes here in YouTube and Facebook, etc., just sabihin nyo na sa akin para at least mabigyan ng clarity sa comment section, etc. So, yeah, let's start. Let us start with defining economics. So, economics is the study of how people and society use limited resources to satisfy unlimited wants. So, ang pinaka-key concept dito is that meron tayong limited na resources, merong scarcity, scarcity. Yeah. So sa madaling sabi, kulang ang resources, pero marami ang gusto ng tao. So kailangan nating pumili. So economics is about like balancing kung ano paano natin iba-budget kumbaga yung resources na available. So here are the key ideas of economics. As what I've mentioned kanina, we have scarcity, limited na resources. For example, in the case of agriculture, yung lupa, yung pera, yung oras, o kaya yung inputs na meron sa bukid. So those are some of the resources na karaniwang ginagamit sa agriculture. By the way, whenever I ano tawag dito? Film videos like this, most of the time naka-coffee ako. So whenever na sobrang bilis ng discussion ko, you can just adjust yung speed dyan. Ayun. O kaya, since ano naman to, recorded naman siya, so pwede nyo ulit-ulitin na lang. Ayun. So the next one is choice. So dahil limited ang resources natin, kailangan nating pumili. Next is allocation. Paano natin hahatiin? Yung sabi ko kanina, paano iba-budget ang resources? And of course, we have here efficiency. Efficiency naman, paano natin masusulit yung resources na meron dyan. So, hindi lang siya, okay, sige, basta okay na. Meron pa ring efficiency na dapat yung effort na parang binibigay natin, in line pa rin siya doon sa output na nakukuha. More of that when we move forward. Okay. So example in agriculture. So limited ang lupa at yung kapital ng mga magsasaka. So hindi niya pwedeng sabay-sabay taniman ng palay, mais at gulay ang parehong lupa. So pipili siya perhaps doon sa mga yon, kunwari palay, mais, tapos gulay, ano yung pinakamataas yung market value ngayon at ayun yung pwede niyang itanim. So dito papasok yung also ang lagi ko nga sinasabi, ano siya eh, it's a collaboration of all your knowledge within all of the subjects. Kaya siya kasama sa licensure exam. Kunwari, kapag hindi season ng ganitong crop, you can always choose the other crop na mas okay for that specific season para mas maging economically viable siya. Or mas marami kang kitain. Ayun. So, may knowledge pa rin sa crop science. Okay. So now let's go to the nature of economics. So ito lang yung ilan sa mga uh, sciences o yung mga factors, mga aspects na meron ang economics. First, economics as a social science. So tinutukoy nito ang behavior ng tao. So paano nagpapasya? Again, andyan yung choice, ang consumers, ang farmers, traders, at government. So we will be dealing with the microeconomics and macroeconomics throughout this series on ag economics. So yung economics as a social science, ang karaniwan nangyayari dyan is kailangan mo syempreng tignan kung ano yung kinikilos ng mga tao. Ayan. So, ito yung karaniwang uh, ano ba tayo? Ito yung karaniwang nami-mislook ng mga tao. Let's say, for example, researchers. So, hindi naman pwedeng puro na lang tayo ano tayo dito? Mag-research on certain, for example, plants. Mag-research tayo on certain plants, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Tapos, yung mga nire-research pala natin, hindi pala siya magagamit ng mga tao sa society. So, kumbaga, okay, how will we balance our resources, which is money, funding siguro, na yung mga ginagawa sa research ay magagamit rin ng mga tao in the future. So, ayun. So, that is economics as a social science. Ang halimbawa dito is that bakit mas gustong magtanim ng sibuyas ang mga magsasaka ngayong taon? Siguro dahil mas mataas ang presyo last season. So, may mga ganong klaseng factors na kailangan tignan. Siyempre, nakaakibat ng mga tao sa komunidad. Social science. Ayun, naulit lang siya. Ayun. Then we have the concept of positive versus normative economics. So kapag sinabi nating positive economics, what is? Ayun siya. What is? So, dito pupunta yung facts, yung data. Karaniwan objective sila. Kapag sinabi nating objective, kung ano yung like wala siyang opinion. Wala siyang opinion. So, kung ano yung lumabas, for example, sa calculator, yeah. So, for example, sa calculator, kung ano yung lumabas doon, ayun yung objective. Ayun na siya. Ayun yung positive economics. So, example, tumataas ang presyo ng bigas kapag bumababa ang supply. So, that's law of supply and demand. So, ibig sabihin, walang opinion. Kung ano yung principle, ayun siya. I-contrast natin siya sa normative economics. So, ang normative economics naman, what ought to be. Ayun yung keyword. Kung ang positive ay what is, normative is what ought to be. Which means, meron na tayong opinion, meron na tayong values, meron na tayong judgment. So, example, dapat kontrolin ng gobyerno ang presyo ng bigas. So, that is, ayan yung isa sa mga statement that reflects yung normative economics. Kasi meron na tayong opinion na ang sabi natin dapat. O kaya, nasa na yung 20 pesos na bigas? Yung mga ganon na bagay. So, yun yung positive, what is, normative, what ought to be. Okay. So, just Joshua tip, pag may situation, then may salitang should or ought, ayan, yun ay normative economics. Again, I am doing this series na ang iniisip ko ay sustainability. So, karaniwan kasi like most of the review centers that I've taught ay parang meron silang like olds ng mga ano tawag dito, ng mga board exam, yung mga naaalala ng mga dating reviewees. Tapos doon na lang sila nagfo-focus. I want this resource, itong Yabong Pilipinas, na magi siyang sustainable na kahit magbago yung mga nakaupo sa PRC, meron like usable pa rin itong mga ganap dito sa Yabong Pilipinas. So, I'm considering every type of exam. Kasi malay natin, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, ang board exam mag-shift siya into situational. So at least meron kayong foundation na kapag sinabing normative, kapag may salitang should or ought, normative siya. Parang gano'n. Okay. So the scope of economics naman tayo. So we have microeconomics and macroeconomics. So microeconomics, maliliit na unit. From the term itself, micro. Ayun. So itong mga to, ang sakop niyan ay individual consumers or individual firms or farm. Some of the na mga kinoconsider dito is price, presyo, demand, supply, and yung costs. Example, ang presyo ng kamatis sa palengke, gastos sa pataba or ating fertilizers at yung kita ng magsasaka. So yun ay under siya ng microeconomics. On the other hand, kapag sinabi naman nating macroeconomics, it looks at the whole economy of the Philippines. So national income, inflation, unemployment, those are concerns on the national level sa mas malaking saklaw, kumbaga. So example nito is ang bag ng agriculture sa GDP. So example, if you will look at my content sa nature and importance of agriculture, we can see there that agriculture ang pinakamababa na contributor sa ating GDP as of, I think, 2023 yung nasa slide ko na yun, or 2025. So, ayun. So, that is an example of macroeconomics. Anong sektor sa ating bansa ang mas nag-aambag ng mas malaki sa ating GDP or gross domestic product? Ayan. So, dito rin papasok yung epekto ng inflation sa food prices. Example, tumataas ba yung presyo, bumababa ba sila, etc. Ayan. So, those are concerns of macroeconomics. Okay. So, ito naman yung foundation of economics. Ito yung basic economic problems and the root of having economics as a subject. Una, what to produce. Anong produkto ang dapat gagawin or itatanim? So, ano? The next one is how to produce. Anong teknolohiya o paraan? Labor-intensive ba or capital-intensive? And pangatlo, para kanino tayo magpo-produce? Sino-sino ang mga makikinabang dito? Sino ang may mga kakayahang bumili nito? Uh, for economics, ang kasama rin pala dito ay marketing. As someone na nag-study ng ABME for my master's, parang ilan sa mga subjects ko ay ABME. Sobrang nakaka-excite na gawin yung portions ng marketing for ag economics and marketing na portion sa licensure. Kasi, example, hindi lang tayo talaga kapag gumagawa tayo ng produkto or what or teknolohiya, kailangan mo rin talaga tinitingnan or pinakamahalaga na tignan kung ano ba yung kailangan ng consumer. Ano ba yung relevant kumbaga sa consumers. So more of that when we go to agriculture marketing. Okay, so ito yung factors of production. Ayan, kasama rin sa foundation of economics. So itong mga to, ito yung basic resources ng economy. So we have the land, ayan, lupa, tubig, climate, natural resources, labor, lakas at kakayahan ng tao. Yung ibig sabihin lang yan, yung mga magtatrabaho doon sa farm, etc. Or even human capital, yan. Tayo. Capital, na pambili ng tools, machines, buildings, inputs, yung mga yan. And entrepreneurship, the decision maker, the risk taker side of production. Ayan, more of that when we go to marketing. Okay, so here are the major fields of study of agricultural economics. So first, we have agricultural production, ugnayan ng inputs and yung outputs. Di ba meron tayong input, may output, tas sa ano yung process, ay sa gitna yung process. So dito natin tinitignan yung efficiency ng production. Even yung law of diminishing returns, it can be discussed in this field of study rin. So, yung example nito is hanggang kailan sulit na magdagdag ng pataba? Hanggang like ano ba yung optimum for the farmers, etc. Next is farm management. So dito papasok yung planning, organizing, and controlling farm resources. So for example, in the field of management kasi we have the policy, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Ayan. So in the case of the farm, okay, dito papasok possible yung budgeting, gaano karaming resources yung ilalagay natin, gaano karaming fertilizers, required ba na magkaroon ng pesticide, required ba itong mga ganito, and even yung record keeping, ilan yung kinita, ayun. Ilan yung kinita, tumubo ba, so pwede yun under the farm management na field of study. Another is agricultural marketing. So ito yung paggalaw ng products mula sa farm papunta sa ating consumer. So dito papasok yung price, yung traders, yung factor ng middlemen. Ayun. So example, bakit mas mababa ang farm gate price pero mahal sa palengke? So diyan papasok na sobrang taas kasi ng mga parang patong ng mga middlemen. So ayun, mga ganong factors. Another one is agricultural finance and credit. So dito papasok yung pautang sa agrikultura, mga banks, cooperatives, informal lenders. So loan para sa binhi at sa pataba. And we also have agricultural policy. So dito papasok yung role ng gobyerno sa agrikultura. Sino ba yung mga lumalaban para sa atin para mas mapababa yung mga prices ng mga for example, bigas, etc. So price support, subsidies, and regulations dito sila sa agricultural policy. So example nito is yung rice tariffication, which I've already discussed in the nature and importance of agriculture na video, and we also have fertilizer subsidy. Yeah, so naulit lang siya. Okay, so now, let's go to the economic ideologies of nations. So ito yung economic systems kung paano sinasagot ng isang bansa ang basic economic problems. So, hindi, ano to ba, like, may pwedeng ibang bansa, isa lang dito yung sa kanila. So may mga example naman tayo dyan in a while. Let us start with capitalism. So a system where private individuals own resources and prices are determined mainly by market forces. So, dito papasok yung private ownership, presyo ang nagdidikta. Presyo and ang market forces, yung market mismo yung nagdidikta ng presyo. We have also profit motive, mas importante talaga ang profit. And there is a minimal government intervention. Okay, so ito yung ilan sa mga example. So, unang, anong tawag dito? Unang aspect ng capitalism is private ownership. So example, in the United States, most agricultural land is privately owned by farmers or agribusiness corporations. Ibig sabihin, lupa mo yan, ikaw yung may-ari. So hindi yung gobyerno yung nagmamay-ari. Ikaw ang magdedesisyon kung ano ang itatanim mo. So that's in the case of the United States. The next one is yung market forces, sila yung nagdidikta ng price. So ang isa sa concrete example is that vegetable prices in wholesale markets in the US fluctuate based on supply and demand. without direct price control from the federal government. So ibig sabihin, nakadepende sa performance ng market ang presyo ng mga bilihin. So kapag marami ang supply ng kamatis, bababa ang presyo. Kapag konti, tataas. So hindi gobyerno ang nagsasabi ng presyo, market ang nag-a-adjust. Okay, so another one is profit motive. So large agribusiness firms like Cargill aim to maximize shareholder returns through efficiency and global trade. So the purpose of a capitalist society is that kumita ng mas malaki. So hindi siya charity, negosyo talaga. And another one is yung minimal government intervention. So the technical term here is the laissez-faire policy. So historically in the US, sinundan nila yung laissez-faire policies during the 19th century with limited regulation of private enterprise. So ang meaning lang neto on a layman's term is bahala kayo diyan. Yon. So yung government hindi siya nakikialam sa negosyo. So if we will look at the the system of a capitalist society, more on money talaga siya. So money ang major player, yung mga negosyo, etc. Okay, next we have socialism. So socialism is a system where major means of production are owned or controlled by the state with emphasis on equality. So here naman, yung state or yung government, sila yung nag-own ng major resources. May central planning, and the purpose of socialism is equality. Na lahat ng tao within that specific country, that specific society ay merong equal na access sa mga resources. So, ayan, punta tayo sa isang aspeto ng socialism, which is state ownership. So public ownership of means of production. So example, in Cuba, most agricultural land is owned by the state or organized into state-supported cooperatives. Lupa at saka yung mga malalaking resources, ang gobyerno ang may hawak niyan at hindi private individual, which is taliwas or opposite dun sa capitalism, kung saan sa capitalism ang may own ng mga resources ay kung sino yung mga nagnenegosyo. Ayan. So dito state ang nag-own, yung government ang nag-organize at nag-own. The next one is central planning. So dito papasok yung term na planned economy. So the government sets production targets and allocates inputs such as fertilizer and machinery. So in this case, the government is the one na nagsasabi na ito yung itanim ninyo, ganito karami at ito ang presyo. So controlled ng government, ng state, ang prices and kung paano pinoproduce yung mga yon. So central planning. At ang goal ng socialism is equality. Yan, redistributive economic policy. So example, yung sa Cuba nga, it provides universal access to basic goods and services subsidized by the states. So the goal here is pantay-pantay yung kita and yung access ng tao. So hindi sobrang yaman lang ng iilan. Ayun. So equality, that's the goal of socialism. The next one is communism. So it is a theoretical system where all property is collectively owned and there is no private ownership. So walang private property, lahat ay pagmamay-ari ng estado at centralized decision making. So communism, number one na aspeto is no private property, so collective ownership. So example, under the Mao Zedong's rule in China, 1949 to 1976, yung agricultural land was collectivized into people's communes. So walang lupa ko, walang lupa mo, lahat ay pagmamay-ari ng buong community or yung state. No private property. So dito papasok yung centralized decision making. Ang ano dito is command economy. So ibig sabihin, yung production, yung pricing, yung distribution ay dinedecide ng central government authorities. So isang central authority lang ang nagdedesisyon para sa lahat. Hindi farmers ang pumipili. So just a note here is yung modern China today is no longer purely communist. In practice, it operates with strong market elements. Ayun. And of course, we have mixed economy. And I think this is the last one, a system combining market forces and government regulation or intervention. So combination siya ng market at saka government. Merong private ownership pero merong klase ng regulation. So, ayun, ito yung isa sa aspeto, combination of market plus government, regulated market economy. So, example sa Pilipinas, meron tayong mga agricultural goods na pinoproduce sa mga private farmers, etc. But the government regulates through policies and subsidies. Ayan. So, may mga private farms pero may rules at intervention pa rin ang government. So, mixed economy. Ayan. Ito yung ano sa Philippines as mixed economy. Example number 1, we have the rice importation regulation. So trade policy intervention, yung government natin, sila yung nagre-regulate ng rice imports through tariff systems under the rice tariffication law. Ito yung sinabi ko or kinwento ko noong sa episode on nature and importance of agriculture na kapag kunwari tinaasan yung tariff, mas mahirap pumasok ang mga imports na galing sa ibang bansa. For example, in rice. Pero pag binabaan yung tariff, mas malaya sila na nakakapag-import ng rice dito sa Pilipinas. So, ayun. Under that intervention or that regulation, hindi basta-basta makakapagpasok ng bigas ang ibang bansa papunta dito sa loob ng Pilipinas. So may control at tax ang ating gobyerno tungkol doon. So another one is NFA intervention. So dito yung price stabilization mechanism. Example, yung NFA, buibili siya ng rice from farmers and sells rice to consumers to stabilize supply. Ayun. So kapag kulang ang bigas or sobrang mahal, papasok ang gobyerno para ayusin ang presyo. Another example of the Philippines as a mixed economy, yung mga programs ng DA, we have government subsidy and support services for our farmers. So Department of Agriculture provides subsidies, training, and input support. We have different, what do you call this, institutes under DA na nagbibigay ng suporta rin sa ating mga farmers. So may mga ayuda ng binhi, pataba, training, pero private pa rin yung bukid. Okay, so here's just the summary of all the economic ideologies. So we have capitalism, ang ownership ay private, price determination, market forces ang nagdidikta ng presyo, tas ang government role ay minimal. Ibig sabihin, ang mga, kung pagmamayari mo yan, bahala ka dyan. Bahala kayo. Bahala ka sa buhay mo. So, socialism, we have ang ownership ay sa state of major resources. So ang price ay nadedetermina sa pagpaplano ng mga otoridad or ng government or ng mga tao. At ang government role ay strong. So sa communism naman, ang ownership is collective or state. Ang price determination ay fully planned and ang government role ay absolute. So sa mix, private plus state ang ownership, merong market and yung regulation ang nagdidetermina ng price ng mga commodities, tapos ang government role ay moderate. Ayun. So those are just 4 of the economic ideologies na ng mga nations. Ayun. And I think may mga lumalabas about that, so dapat alam nyo rin yung distinction ng 4 na iyon. So that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for listening. If you learned something through this video, kindly click the like button, tapos click the notification bell and subscribe para mas maparami rin yung may alam na mayroong ganitong free review here sa YouTube or sa Facebook. Ayun. Also share this to your friends. Share this to your family, sa mga tingin nyo, sa mga gusto nyo pumasa ng licensure exams with you. Again, if you have any questions, just comment it down And I will try my best to answer each one of them kung merong questions. Thank you very much for listening. See you in the next episode. Bye.